19. Swear to God, I'm taking over 19. Hey, back, hit a $250,000. When it's here, pretty chilly. I've been trying to find me really wow. Silly, yo, I be gone like Cheerio. Really though, swear we finna get the gold. You the goat, but the most been getting old. Standing still, yeah, I'm getting way too cold. Like it's
What's up, my D-Gens? How we doing? Welcome to Dynasty D-Gens. I just realized that we're on episode 99 tonight. So next week, we're doing episode 100. And that's not too bad considering we went for a year, took a year off, and then we came back. So I'm excited. I didn't think we were going to make it to 100. I figured last year we were just going to call it. I was going to say, nah, we're good. But we're going. We're almost at episode 100. I love it. I appreciate all you guys that have been joining us. We're going Saturday today, so obviously a different day. I hope you didn't miss us on Thursday, but if you're joining us tonight, I appreciate you. We got a fun one today, so we're talking QB landscape in general. We're talking about guys that are rising, falling, that are surprise starts this year. Obviously, the waiver wire is crazy, and if you scooped up these guys like Flacco, Danny Dimes, whoever it is, late in drafts or honestly probably dropped in a lot of leagues at this point. So even in Dynasty, you're talking about good value early on in the season. Before we get into it, though, we got a guest tonight. So we got Matt Montgomery. I didn't want to hit him with the middle name, but I wanted to get as close to the government name as possible. He's over there with FootballGuys. He's doing all the IDP stuff. He's doing IDP work. He might do some IDP shows for us. I don't know. We're talking backstage. Might set that up. Matty, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Hey, the 99th episode. I promise you that I will not take this off the rails. You will get to episode 100, and thank you for having me on. I can't wait to talk ball.
Dude, nobody remembers the 99th episode, man. Nobody gives a shit. I promise you. It's all good. Like, don't worry. But we got Jared jumping in here. What's up, dude? Let's go. He loves the Mad Dog. Yeah, man. So, like I said, we're going to talk quarterbacks. I think I haven't been on a pod yet where I've been able to talk about Daniel Jones. I haven't been able to talk about Anthony Richardson and the fallout and everything that has kind of played out early on in I guess the season now. We're talking about the end of the offseason right now. Before I just talk about it a little bit, tell me your background, Matt. Tell me where you come from, how you got into content, how this all came about. We got a little sidebar conversation backstage, but I don't know how you got into this, man. So just a quick, go shorthand answer, if you will.
Yeah. So I originally from Cincinnati. I'm currently based out of Indianapolis. I got into content creation through writing for FootballGuys. That was my first gig. My little league baseball coach is the IDP head over there. And I've been playing in leagues with him since I was 12, 13 years old. I expressed interest in writing about 2020, 2021, somewhere around there. And it's just grown over the years. I'm more confident in myself. I'm more confident in my work. I understand the game a little bit more. And you know what? It's still fun. And I think ultimately that's the original reason I got into this whole thing, is because I really enjoy the game of football. And I feel like I can give a unique perspective on the game of football.
Yeah, I love it, man. We got Scaredy in here talking to Indy. Shout out.
Let's go, Indy, for the win.
So we're going to talk about Indy a little bit here. Yeah, I mean, we need more IDP content creators in the space, I think. It's very niche-y at this point. A lot of people aren't doing it. A lot of people are afraid of it. I think if you talked about it a little more, there's definitely a market. There's people that want to try it, but just don't know how to or how to get into it. So maybe we can have an IDP show and we can talk a little bit more about what you do in the space and intro to IDP leagues and stuff, like, getting that going. Cause I like to do that with Devi, C2C. I think you should always play out of your comfort zone. It helps you appreciate the game a little more. And then you also have a new wrinkle that I think keeps you invested in fantasy,
life's about being uncomfortable. Life's about being uncomfortable. It's about taking risks. It's fantasy football, man. At the end of the day, it's fake football. You're watching the game and you're reacting to the players in front of you. And IDP is the same exact thing. It just gives you more to watch, a different level of understanding of the game, and more big plays. Yes, everybody loves an 80-yard touchdown, but have you ever rooted for a pick six? It is insane. It changes matchups just like these other ones. So it's just the inverse in a way. We're just the other side of the ball. It's not scary. I promise.
Yeah. Dude, speaking of uncomfortable, we're just going to jump right into it, and we're going to talk about Daniel Jones. Obviously, Daniel Jones won the job over there over Anthony Richardson. I think it's not a great look, obviously, as a team standpoint. We're talking about, your first-round pick that started 15 games over a 2-year period, and I think a lot of people are saying that they wanted him to get more of a shot. They wanted him to at least get that boost of confidence, and I think they're doing the Trey Lance thing. They're doing the Justin Fields thing. They're, I think it's just this idea where you always feel like somebody's watching over you. And for Anthony Richardson's sake, he's been on the bench and then starting on the bench and then starting. It's really been tough to watch. I've looked into this team extensively in the offseason. I've done some write-ups and stuff like that. And it's like, I love the Daniel Jones setup for the positional players. I think that this gives a boost to every pass catcher in the offense. We're talking about Downs being a big breakout guy for a lot of people. Michael Pittman coming back from the back injury. Tyler Warren, obviously everyone is getting a little boost. I think that he's going up draft boards a little more because of Daniel Jones, because of the intermediate passing that's probably going to be benefited. And then Adonai Mitchell. So, Metro Lights right here talking about Mitchell. I feel like he's a big breakout candidate as well. So I think anybody would die for this offense. They are stepping into a pretty good situation. Matt, what's your takeaway from this situation, and how do you feel about Daniel Jones grabbing the starting gig?
So full disclosure, I'm covering the Colts training camp for Football Guys currently. So I've been extensively kind of researching and watching and just reading the information in front of me. And right now, I think Daniel Jones was playing at a better football level. I think Anthony Richardson athletically is going to pop off the screen, and that's great. But at the end of the day, you have to be able to read defenses, and you have to be able to sort of predict what they're going to try to do to you, and then react by hitting your receivers. And I don't think they had the confidence that Anthony Richardson could do that as effectively as Daniel Jones can currently in his career. And at the same time, when Anthony Richardson pulled himself out last year in that game, he did something that is almost the football cardinal sin. And I think he lost the locker room. And I think as your quarterback, to effectively lead your team, they have to believe that you were there to effectively die for them out there, kind of like what the Patriots offensive lineman said when he was drafted. I don't think they felt that way about Richardson, and I think that you can't lie to those veteran guys in the locker room. So I completely understand it. You could see it coming from a mile away. I really believe that, but it's going to be interesting because Daniel Jones still has a lot to prove in the NFL, and whether he's going to be an effective quarterback long-term, or is he going to be a bridge guy until the next project.
Yeah. What do you, Dane, what are you most excited about when we're talking about this team, and who are you most excited about on the team offensively with Daniel Jones starting? Like, you're a big Adonai Mitchell guy. You've been talking about him since the day he got drafted. It looked like a big giant L, but now it's coming back a little bit. And, so, how you feeling about, let's talk about Adonai for a little bit. How you feeling about him year 2? Year 3? Year 3? Yeah. No. 2.
I think it's 3.
Yeah.
2.
It's 2. Yeah.
So with A.D. Mitchell, like last year, he looked like he was just running wind sprints because Anthony Richardson couldn't hit him. If you actually looked at his separation score, he was quite high. He has the physical talent. We saw that when he played in Texas, that he is an athlete. He can make some great catches. He knows how to use his body and gain that leverage and come down with the ball. Now, when you go and look at the stats that Anthony Richardson has, I pulled them up earlier, out of 55 quarterbacks that threw at least 175 passes to register for this, he was 55 out of 55 in accuracy, 55 out of 55 in completion rate, 50 out of 55 in touchdown to interception ratio. So Daniel Jones didn't really have that high of a bar to beat Richardson out. But the Colt that I'm really looking forward to in this offense is Jonathan Taylor. I think now that you see Daniel Jones starting, however long that's going to be, he's not going to be there vulturing those goal line touches. I think that is a boost to JT. And I just think that Richardson he was going to go and run and try and be too off platform. And Daniel Jones, maybe some of the Vikings scheme rubs off on him and he's matured a little bit. And he's going to throw those easy passes. He's going to let JT run the ball. He might be able to audible at the line and just get the ball in JT's hand and get that offense humming a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all in on JT this year. I think that, even before the quarterback situation was cemented at this point, I saw him as this is a contract year, a sneaky contract year for Jonathan Taylor, because he can be cut for minimal money. Well, not cut, but traded out or if they blow this team up, Jonathan Taylor could easily be on a new team next year, and it wouldn't hurt them financially too much. It wouldn't break their bank a little bit. So it's like, if they do fail, if this is a disaster, I think Steichen is gone. I think that they pretty much strip it down. And who do they have as their best trade piece? It's Jonathan Taylor. He's their guy that would easily be moved. I think a lot of teams would love him. And I think that he would be playing for a new contract on a new team. He's playing for a new contract regardless at this point. So, I think that a lot of people don't realize that Jonathan Taylor is in a pivotal season. And I think that we're going to see, prime JT this year. We saw a healthy JT last year and look at what that was, and that was with Anthony Richardson and Joe Flacco and just a messy situation, different quarterback every game. And he was the only staple that was true. And, I think that we're going to see some stability, at least more stability this year. Do you have any take, Monty, on I'm going to call you a different name every time I talk to you.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. Big M. Do you have any take on Anthony Richardson? Do you kind of have an idea of, the best way to handle him moving forward? Like, what would you want to see from Anthony Richardson this year?
What I would personally do if I were Shane Steichen is either trade him or cut him. I really do think that was something that you need to set an example of, that they didn't effectively do so. And I think that it's just an opportunity for now Steichen to lose the room. Steichen's made a stance with Daniel Jones. It was very specific how he worded that starting quarterback announcement. He said, for this season. Daniel Jones is our starter for this season. He is telling the fan base, I'm not going to pull him week 10 if we look bad. I'm not going to pull him. He is there unless he's hurt. And Anthony Richardson is already kind of behind the scenes murmuring some stuff, wanting to be traded. So it's going to get ugly there. And I don't see Anthony Richardson handling it well. I also see the Colts not wanting to put up with it. I'm a conspiracy guy. So what conspiracy would you rather have than the Colts tanking and picking a Manning number 1 overall? I mean, can you write a better script for what the Colts could do? They have a statue of Peyton outside, and there's plenty of room for an arch statue.
Yeah, I mean, I think they would love that. I don't know if Manning's going to be coming out next year. They might have to do a 2-year tank at this point, but
It may not be. Not be doing it intentionally. It might just happen.
There's a lot of reason for them to cut Anthony Richardson loose. I think I would love to see Anthony Richardson on the Saints, or you know what I mean, like a team that really needs, or obviously I think he needs some development on a team. Man, imagine him backing up like a Jalen Hurts or something.
I was going to say Jalen Hurts is the one that came to mind.
Yeah, I mean, Lamar Jackson, like anybody that fits his style, that, he can be mentored and really learn the style of like football that he's comfortable with, because like the Colts.
I don't want to come out as an Anthony Richardson hater. I do think that the decision was a big deal, but he is a very gifted football player. He is just not a gifted quarterback right now. He has to seriously look in the mirror and just make a better either a better commitment to learning what is going on or studying differently or going to different people to try to find little nuances, because right now he can't command the offense effectively to start in the NFL. So being a mentor, like you said, to somebody whose play style is more apt for his skill set, I think is a perfect way to redevelop. But it's going to, if I'm the Colts, he's a rookie contract right now, man. He's never going to be more valuable. You need to move him.
Yeah, and I mean, the Colts knew what they had with Andy Richardson, and I think that's the most infuriating situation that you can look at and kind of point fingers at the front office, where you're saying you knew he was a project. You know, you took this guy in the first round, but you understood that he was probably going to need some development. But I mean, all these guys, they're just in a rush to show them what they have. They're in a rush to actually, you know, show the fans what they have, and I think that it's unfortunate, you know. You only see these teams that Patrick Mahomes sitting for a whole year, you know, like these guys that come in, they get drafted in the first round, but you know, we're going to see Dart probably sit behind Russ for, well, we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but you know, teams that do it the right way, you get a veteran in there, and then you kind of, you know, I was hoping that even like a Rodgers was going to go to Indy or something, you know, like I would have loved to seen Rodgers with that offense. What do you got, Dane? You want to say something?
Well, because it was we were talking about Jalen Hurts, but this was supposed to be Jalen Hurts 2.0. Indy went and got Shane Steichen. This was supposed to be Anthony Richardson. They knew he was raw. You should have been giving him reps. And if you're going to lose games, you lose games and you find out what you have in Anthony Richardson. So there's obviously something behind the scenes, or he lacks the intangibles that makes Jalen Hurts. And I think we're now starting to see that unfold, because you're right. For Shane Steichen to come up to the podium and say that we think Daniel Jones is going to play like he did in 2023 when he got that big contract, and state that he's going to play the whole year, there has to be something massively wrong with Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, I mean, it is ugly. It's tough to watch, but you know, I am excited for this offense. I am excited to see the revival of Daniel Jones, because, man, every year for the last 5 years, we've seen guys come back to life. You know, we saw Geno, and then, you know, Baker Mayfield, and you know, we're seeing all these guys like Sam Darnold last year. It's like, I really think that Dimes is on deck to have that type of revival if things play out correctly.
I think the Colts offense is a little underrated right now, but I think also because of Daniel Jones there, and you don't really know what you're getting, he can be a little chaotic as a starter. It's going to be death by 1,000 cuts. We're not going to see a lot of 60-yard bombs to Alec Pierce like we're used to in that offense. I think we're going to see a lot of Tyler Warren over the middle. I think we're going to see a lot of a more pass-catching volume from the running backs, specifically DJ Giddens. I believe the rookie that they drafted is going to get a lot of pass-catching duties there, and it's going to keep Jonathan Taylor fresh. So while he had 303 carries last year, that was missing 3 games. Okay, I think if he plays a full season healthy, you can see him hit right around that same carry mark with the same amount of production. He is still a top-tier running back in the league, but I do think that he is going to get more rest, because I think that they're going to try to shrink the offense for Daniel Jones. And by shrink, I mean not downfield plays and downfield reads, but more close to the line of scrimmage, and they're going to try to get the ball out of his hands quickly.
Yeah, you want to limit mistakes, but I mean, when have they ever game planned to do that at this point? I would want them to do that, but I also have no faith that their game planning is going to say, okay, we're going to keep Daniel Jones safe, because they never.
You are not alone.
So let's move it on to Mr. Joe Flacco. So Joe Flacco was named. I don't think anybody's surprised by this, but Joe Flacco was named the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns, and man, we could have an entire podcast dedicated to the Cleveland Browns. You know, we could have the entire show, and I could talk about this all night long. I don't think anybody wants to listen to a podcast about the Cleveland Browns at this point, though. That's really what's going to keep me away from doing that.
I don't even think fans want it.
No, we'll put 8 minutes, 9 minutes on this at most. But all right, so we're talking Joe Flacco. We still have no idea who the quarterback to. Dylan Gabriel obviously had a pretty good preseason. Shedeur Sanders, you know, everyone wants to really dislike the Nepo baby. like have issues with you just completely hating on Shedeur. But you know, I get it. It's tough to watch that whole thing play out as well. But I mean, we like Joe Flacco for Njoku, Tillman, Judy, all these guys I'm loving right now. The question is, how long does Joe Flacco stay the quarterback, right? Like, how long does Flacco hold on to that job? Is he going to be the quarterback the whole year? Dane, how you feeling about the situation? And do you think – oh, sorry, I'll go to Dane first, then I'll pop over to you.
Man, I do. Like, I wrote a piece on the news desk that there's some potential to this Cleveland Browns wide receiver core, and with David Njoku. When Flacco was there in 2023, the 6 games that he played, he averaged over 320 yards per game. He made David Njoku a league winner. Like, the guy can still sling the ball. You know, I think if they can establish the run, we don't know what Judkins is going to do. Can Ford and Sampson kind of pull up the slack and play the game that Stefanski wants? But I think we might end up seeing Joe Flacco play the whole season.
Yeah. How you feeling, Monty? What do you feel on the Flacco situation?
I don't hate what you said, Mad Dog, but I don't necessarily agree. I think, and I've been on this for a little bit since some of the nonsense coming out with Shedeur and the Dylan Gabriel and what they said about pretenders and contenders, or I forget whatever, the entertainers, I think is what he said. I really believe that Flacco has this job, and I don't think they're going to be as successful as we think. And I think that this could potentially be Shedeur Sanders by Thanksgiving. I really think that I think the Gabriel stuff right now is to continue to humble Shedeur and to continue to kind of mold him into the quarterback that they want him to be, to kind of keep the nonsense outside. Now, I think if Flacco has success, and that is possible, I think he could hold on to it. I'm not going to bet on that, but there is a high ceiling for this offense with Flacco. He's got familiarity in Kevin Stefanski's system. We have data that shows us that he was a highly, highly effective quarterback. I had Amari Cooper in that fantasy playoffs where Joe Flacco basically made him a star and made him a league winner. And like you said, Njoku, a league winner. So Joe Flacco has shown us at the highest level at the most critical time in fantasy football that he can still kind of throw it back 1 or 2 games. And if they get hot, they start off, 3-1, 4-0, and they're making a legitimate playoff run, there is no reason to bench him, and I don't think that they will. At the same time, if they are 2-2 and they lose ugly, or if they just can't win and they're starting to lose, Flacco will not keep that job very long. And I think it's going to come down to how much faith they have in either Gabriel or Shedeur. I'm leaning Shedeur because I think he'll be a better NFL player.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think it's all is winning happening because that's what it comes down to. I mean, Flacco didn't win much when he was with Indy last year, when they were swapping and, they sat him for Richardson after a while because he just couldn't get a W at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I think he lost 2 games in a row and they said, all right, let's go back to Richardson. So I don't think that Flacco equals W's, and he's playing on a team that's, I don't know. I mean, I would say less talented at this point when we're comparing rosters. So, yeah, he's got to win games. And I think that's all that matters. I think that's all they care about right now. As an organization that is a mess, I don't think they're sitting, they're rookie quarterbacks because they want to lose. I think they need to show the fan base that they have it kind of figured out. They want to. How do you mask a mess? You get W's. How do you just convince people that we're talking about a team that was built okay? You get some W's, and I think Flacco offers that best option for you. Not to say I think he is going to be there all season, but I think it's not going to be because they're trying to develop talent. It's going to be because they're not winning or Flacco gets hurt. It's not going to be a, hey, we're going to go see what our guys have. I don't think they're ever going to make that kind of decision. But I mean, I love this for Njoku. I love it for Tillman.
Well, I think one of the reasons I like it, if I would argue for it, and for Flacco playing most of the year, he will take risks downfield. So the ceiling for these players is immediately higher than it would be with one of the rookies, because they're not going to let one of the rookies do that. But it's Joe Flacco. He's a made man in the NFL. And I think Kevin Stefanski trusts him enough to take deep shots. And Flacco likes to go back there and sling it. So you got guys that are going to have opportunities for either long touchdowns or long receptions, 30, 40-plus yards. That is going to happen at a clip way higher with Joe Flacco than it would with the other two.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and also, I mean, this probably makes everybody in this offense a sell high candidate. If we're going to be looking at Flacco for the beginning of the season, there's no guarantee that it's Flacco at the end of the season. If you can move any of these guys for a piece that's in a more stable environment, like if you're going to grab a Judy and trade him off to somebody for – I mean, I would trade him for Zay Flowers or even though I don't think he has like a super high ceiling in that offense, I still want somebody that is attached to Lamar Jackson instead of somebody that might have Flacco maybe for the whole year, maybe not. Then we're going to be looking at maybe Gabriel, Shador Sanders. It's just going to get messy for these guys. So if you're looking at like, I don't know, would you sell high on Njoku? I guess so, right?
Yeah, I think Harold Fannin might get more run than we think currently. Now, I still think Njoku is the far and away better tight end. I'm not saying that a rookie is going to usurp him, but I do think that we're going to see a dip in his production because they're going to have more options around them, which is why they could have a potent offense. I mean, they have a lot of what ifs. We don't know what we're getting from them right now. All we know is we don't trust Joe Flacco long term, but we do know that he can produce fantasy seasons that are effective, that won't lose you matchups. And I think if you're going after a Flacco in one of your drafts or in one of your leagues, you're getting him to stabilize that position. You're not getting him because you think he's going to beat, over the course of the season, a Joe Burrow or a Josh Allen. You think that you can stabilize the position there. And I think that there is value in any league if you can stabilize a position and just know what you're going to get week to week. And I think with Flacco, you'll get that.
Yeah. I mean, the jury's out for that situation. I don't know if we're going to talk about stabilization when it comes to a 40-year-old quarterback, but he's still, it is what it is. But I think when we're talking about the schedule, it doesn't scare me at all because there's going to be so much garbage time with this team. There's going to be so many end of games where you're looking at Jerry Jeudy. He's got like 5 points on your team, and you're like, what the hell are we going to do? Flacco's going to sling it and fling it. He's going to be throwing it at the end of the game. He's going to be down by 7 touchdowns, and he doesn't care.
He's
going to be throwing it, dude.
Just a beautiful
And you're going to
picture.
get all of that fourth quarter garbage time beautiness when it comes to fantasy. It's going to be like Jameis Winston, only more composed.
Cheapies, baby. Got to get the cheapies.
It's going to be nice, man. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but I think it's going to be really nice for these guys. I talked about it a little bit before, but we're talking about Jaxson Dart. Jaxson Dart's look good. He's looked very good. I've gone to war with guys on the timeline about Jaxson Dart. I got to be honest. I'm not going to victory lap it yet, but I went to war in the offseason talking about how Jaxson Dart is a first-round talent. He's going to go in the first round. The NFL is going to see it. It's going to happen.
Victory lap it, man. He did get drafted in the first round. There's no need to hide it.
He went in the first round. Yeah. Trust me, like me and I don't want to. I went to war with Corey. So Corey does all of the QB charts for reception perception. So he's over there on Matt Harmon's team, and I don't really want to I love you, brother, but I mean, man, sweaty war with this guy in the offseason for sure. I think, what are we looking at for a timetable for Dart? Are we looking at 8-game timetable, maybe week 8, week 9? Do you think that they go to him earlier?
I think this one's an early.
You think that it's earlier?
An early one because I think Daboll is coaching for his job, so the best player is going to play. And I think that Russell Wilson's going to get the first chance, and he's going to do what Russell Wilson does, and he's just going to perpetually disappoint. And I think that the New York media is not going to allow that to go hidden. It's going to be very public. It's going to be very loud. And I think Dable will feel the fire and he will pull him earlier than later.
How you feeling, Mad Dog?
I agree with that. And I think we can go back to what we were just saying with Flacco. If Russ is getting them wins, then you play him. I think they should try to incubate Dart and let him get used to the NFL, kind of watch what's going on. I don't think he's going to last until week 15 when it's their bye is week 14. I don't know if it's going to be week 8. I think it should be week 4, 5, 6. But again, if Russ comes out and looks like he did in Denver, I think that's a short leash, and Dart's going to be in a lot sooner than we think.
Yeah, I think Dart's going to be in by like week 3. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's going to be very soon. I think Russ is going to have a 2-3 interception game, and it's going to do all right, we're going
seen
right
this
to
movie
it.
Before.
You gotta do what the team needs, and at that moment, I think we're talking about going to see the talent that you drafted that in the draft. And I don't think he's going to do much development behind Russ at this stage in the game. I think he's already a better quarterback than Russ now. So, you're talking about Russ helping him out. I think that he can help him out in the locker room. I think he can help him out with his, intangibles when it comes to his motion, when it comes to his pocket awareness. But I think talent-wise, Dart's already above and beyond what Russ is currently now. So at this stage, he's going to just help you out cosmetically and obviously kind of teach you how to be in the league. But I don't know if that's why they got Russ. And I don't know if Russ is going to be okay with that. I don't think Russ right now is up for – he's not Joe Flacco. He's not going to sit there and be happy about being in a mentor role. I think that it's going to be, I don't know, man. Like, you're right. This is another situation. If he's winning, he's winning, but we saw Dable go out and get this guy for a reason. That's his guy. I think that we are going to look at this being not when, but everyone's going to know when, Russ is going to be on a short leash, I think. Everyone's going to know the first game where Russ struggles, where, we saw it last year on a team that, pretty much gave him the reins and the keys after Justin Fields started 5-0. They said, all right, we're good. We're going to give it to Russ now. And
crazy.
They never turned back. Russ is on a different situation, a completely different scenario. So I'm excited, man. I think I'm excited for, it's crazy as I go down this list. I'm excited for the Cleveland Browns and I'm excited for the Jets. The Giants, the Giants.
With Russ, like what made him was the deep ball and the scrambling.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He didn't have the scramble ability with Denver. He also didn't have the running back room to support any of that. Like he had the defense after him nonstop. With Pittsburgh, same thing. It was kind of just boring. The scrambling wasn't there, and they have Malik Neighbors. Like if Russ can't feed him the ball, you can't all of a sudden have your sophomore star wide receiver being disgruntled because you don't go and play Dart, who he knows is the better quarterback. So I think there's a lot of different factors to this. And again, like if Russ isn't performing on the field, like I think we're going to see Dart a lot sooner than people think.
Mad Dog, I love that point on Malik Neighbors. I did not think of that. I think you're right. They have a star receiver, and you're going to know immediately if the star receiver is happy with the quarterback play. Yep. So you not only have obviously all of the media, but now you've got one of the better receivers in the entire NFL that has the potential to just say, this ain't the guy, and he's not doing well enough.
Yeah, I mean, at that stage in his career, Malik Neighbors could easily elevate Russ, and make him look really great at this point. Like Russ, I mean, if you're looking at it from a standpoint of a guy that, is at the tail end of his career, this could, stretch it out a little bit. Having a Malik Neighbors could make this last year and a half, whatever you want to call it, I mean, he might be able to stay as the quarterback for the whole year. You know, if Neighbors is loving what Russ is bringing to the table, I think he's going to have that star treatment. And he's going to have that call. It's going to be like, okay, you don't want to if Neighbors wants him as the quarterback, I think he's going to be the quarterback at that point. I mean, we're talking about a year 2 guy, but you want Neighbors happy. And I think that, you know, if he's happy with Russ, that we're going to see Russ for an extended period of time, you know, and then Dart, I think, is just going to have to wait in the background a little bit. What are we looking at for conversation here? Corey said, who increases whose value more, Dart to Neighbors or Sanders to Judy? I'm gonna say Dart to Neighbors because, I mean, Neighbors is already an elevated talent. I would take Neighbors over Judy by a very large margin. And then you're talking about Dart to Sanders, and I'm going to take Dart by a very large margin. So it's, you know, I think the question, if it was like Dart to Judy and Sanders to Neighbors, it would still be Neighbors. You know, I think that it's just.
I do think,
Like I think I'm trying to find Jaxson Dart's ADP right now. So he's going 90th overall on Dynasty Data Lab. Like Malik Neighbors is good enough to elevate him into what, 4th, 5th round startup pick. Do you see Jerry Jeudy making Shedeur Sanders move at all? Like I think Jerry Jeudy is kind of in that glob of wide receiver 2 as a high side. Like I don't see the movement there. I don't see the traction that's going to be there. I just think that Neighbors is elite and he can elevate anybody on that team.
I think that there's a higher likelihood that Malik Neighbors could go from a wide receiver 1 to a wide receiver 2 with Dart than there is Jeudy going up a tier. I believe it's easier for Neighbors to fall down because I think that the production could take a precipitous drop. But at the same time, I think Neighbors, me personally, I think Neighbors is I don't want to say generational talent. We always throw that word around, but I really do think that he is kind of going to be in that next tier. Like he's just going to be around for a while and he's going to be always in the top 5. And I could see him being that type of receiver moving forward. But we could see that drop off if the quarterback situation is not played the way it is. And Jeudy has been kind of always disappointing us, it feels like. So I don't feel like the pain would hurt as much if you were betting on the Sanders Jeudy if you were with Dart and Neighbors potentially. I'm still with you guys though. I think that Neighbors is too.
I mean, we needed to see Flacco with Jeudy for him to even, you know, sniff great value at that point last year, right? I mean, he still had a decent start and it was a good season as a whole. But I think the jury's still out as Jeudy goes, you know, was that an outlier season for Jeudy? Or is that what we expect from Jeudy moving forward? There's still, with Neighbors, there's no question marks, you know, but when we're talking about Jeudy as a whole, I don't know if that's what Jeudy is or if that's what, you know, I
think
need
it's
more.
The ceiling.
I need more. I mean, the ceiling, if that's a ceiling, that's great. I still think that's great. You know, we're talking about a high-end wide receiver too, if that's what a ceiling is.
Right.
But I saw too many years of what Jerry Jeudy was to really trust just that 7-8 game, you know, spread there of him really producing at that point. We're going to get into a lot more right now, but we're going to kick it over to the Podfather. We're going to be talking about the rookie. No, we'll do a rabbit. So if you guys aren't in fast draft right now, there is best ball tournaments called the Rabbit that if you're not doing it, it's probably the best situation when you're looking at a busy day. If you have an extended schedule and you want to do a 7-8 minute draft, I go into different drafts out there and I'm like doing the whole day in the lobby and it's like so long and I have to drive or I'm going somewhere. It's like, dude, the Rabbit, I'm taking a dump and I'm done with it. Boom. We're good. That's my draft for the day. We're all set. But it's great. If you go in there, go to Fast Draft, use our promo code DGEN. So it's DEGEN. So use DEGEN and get up to a $50 deposit match. I'm going to let him jump in. So this is the Podfather, and then we'll come right back to it.
You asked, we delivered a full best ball tournament on Fast Draft, but we do it the Fast Draft way, and it's called the Rabbit, because of course it is. 20-second time clock, 15 rounds. These drafts, they take 20 minutes. That's it. So you get a lot of new people coming in and playing, get a lot of best ball bros playing, exploitable ADPs, no rake. It is the best EV in all of fantasy. You should just go to fastdraft.app, use code FAST. You get a $50 deposit match. These things are a blast, and it's the best use of your funds in all of fantasy.
Yes, and that's DGen. DEGEN. My man Corey is like, what the? Yeah, it's in the corner, the right corner right there. So if you can write that down, baby. All right, let's keep it moving, though. So this has always been a juicy conversation. I love having this conversation, especially now that Cam Ward's balling. So Cam Ward's been balling. Cam Ward throws it on a rope. Cam Ward, we already knew this about Cam Ward, but Cam Ward's got the arm strength. He knows how to throw it. He's got that deep ball. He's pretty accurate for the most part. I think he's really reeled in that as far as early tape goes. He's shown out a little bit in this preseason right now. But there's always the conversation of JJ McCarthy. JJ McCarthy this, JJ McCarthy that. Obviously, JJ McCarthy's in probably the best situation possible, throwing the ball to – when Addison comes back, we're talking about probably the best 3 to 4 pass catchers in the NFL collectively. JJ is already, we're talking about the elite of the elite. So Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, we got Hawkinson over there. And then you got a bunch of ancillary pieces that are not so bad. Like there's obviously one of the best pass catching running backs out there. And he's in a perfect situation. We saw Sam Darnold turn into a top 5 quarterback last year. Here. So for this season, do you want JJ McCarthy or Cam Ward as your starting quarterback in fantasy? I'll start with you, Maddie. What are you thinking?
I am going with JJ McCarthy this season. JJ McCarthy right now, it started weird in camp. It started weird. Nobody knew what they were getting into. It was really quiet. Then the things that people were talking about weren't good. But he has made steady improvements, and I think he's starting to learn this offense. I think O'Connell is really helping him learn how to read this offense. And I don't think he's going to be top 5 like Darnold was, but I do think that this season that offense is going to roll. That is a good offense. They've got a 1-2 punch in the backfield that I think is going to be very much a 1A, 1B situation. I think that Jordan Addison, when he comes back from that suspension, is going to show a lot of people what he's showing people in camp, and that is a very impressive next step in his career. I'm also covering the Vikings for Football Guys as well in training camp, and one thing that has been standing out the entire time is how good Jordan Addison looks. Hawkinson is going to be playing, I think, as healthy as he's been in years, and he is an effective tight end when he is at peak health. I really do believe that he's got everything around him to be successful. The offensive line is really going to be the key. They look good right now, but they did lose the left tackle to injury last season, so he's coming back. But you never know. You don't know how this is going to be. If he can just have time to learn and be a rookie, I think he'll be fine. And I think this season he is in a better situation than Cam Ward, who is in a Titans offense that I think has a lot more questions than answers.
Yeah, I'm with it. How you feeling?
Yeah,
Mad Dog?
Absolutely. I'm going to echo what Maddie said. I think the situation right now is better. JJ kind of had, last season to be mentored and absorb all of this information and see how things are going. He also comes from Michigan. I think that is a very pro-ready type program over there. I think that when you see JJ McCarthy have the ball, he stays on platform. I think he's going to be more poised, where if he has to throw the ball away, he can. If he runs the ball, he's going to have a plan with it. He's going to try and get to the sidelines. You see Cam Ward, yeah, he can sling it. He's got arm power for days. But I think the Titans want to build to be an organization that the Vikings are. They have Ridley. They're working on the O-line. They have Pollard. It's just a work in progress. I think Brian Callahan is finally getting the pieces that he wants to build forward. I don't deny the talent that Cam Ward has. I just want to see what he does when he's in trouble. That was one of the things when I would watch his tape. He scrambles a little bit. He takes too much time. And he tries to make that big play when sometimes he just needs to throw it to the sideline and realize that, okay, I got to throw it away, and we just go and reset. So there's growth there. I think the Titans are going to be a team on the rise in the next few years. But for right now, I'm taking J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we're looking at a guy that, yes, he wasn't playing last year, but he was still with the team. He was still getting the bonding time. He was still learning these guys and really just spending time with the coaches. And, you know, he was in all of the practices. He was in the war rooms. He was talking to guys. He's coming into a situation where, yeah, hasn't played yet, but he's still got a comfort level that's above and beyond what you would come in as a rookie. And I think that, you know, he's coming back from injury too. So there's a lot of stuff that he's got to go through. There's a lot of development. But yeah, he's been prorated. He was just a pro-ready guy in general, you know, coming from a Harbaugh system. You know that he has the intangibles, you know that he's good in the big moments, that he was in the bowl games. He's like, he understands how to play in high pressure. And we saw in the preseason last year before he got injured, he was just balling. Like he was doing what Cam Ward's doing right now, you know? So I love Cam Ward. I think that he's like an underappreciated guy and probably the most disrespected first round pick that I can remember as a quarterback, like being the 101 and really just like, he doesn't get a lot of praise. People aren't valuing him.
Yeah.
I got him in at the 107, 108, you know, like he was going behind he's going behind every running back. He was going behind Trevion Henderson. He was going behind everybody. Plus, you know, we're talking about the wide receivers there too. It's like, I don't want people to say, okay, you took JJ, you don't like Cam Ward. Absolutely not. I love Cam Ward. And if this was a dynasty question, I don't even know how I would go this way. Like, I think that it would be a little tough to answer at this point.
I flip it. I would rather have Cam Ward in dynasty than I would J.J. McCarthy, because I do think that Cam Ward at his peak will be a better NFL quarterback than J.J. McCarthy at his peak. But it's going to come down to coaching. It's going to come down to the development of that offense. And I think because he's in a worse situation, the development will be slower, which is why I went with J.J. McCarthy this season, because I think he's, like you said, Mad Dog, that pro-ready offense. I mean, he played for a Harbaugh. So I'm as confident as ever that he knows how to play within a system in the NFL. But I do think that Cam Ward has the more natural talent that if he plays well and learns and develops will be the better long-term option in fantasy football.
Yeah, I think I'm with that just because of the arm talent. I think that he offers a higher ceiling. JJ might change that this year for me. I think that that's a fluid conversation for me.
Yes.
If you had a Nerf gun to my head, I would probably take Cam Ward in dynasty, but value wise, I have to look at it as JJ's a higher value currently from Cam Ward. So I would need, if you wanted to give me Cam Ward for JJ, you'd have to add something to it at this point in dynasty. What do you think, Mad Dog? You feel the same way?
I think I'm still sticking with McCarthy on that. I am like it until KOC is gone from the Vikings. I don't think you can doubt any quarterback that's on that team. I just think that McCarthy can. I think McCarthy can make all the throws that you want a quarterback to be. I think he's going to be more than just a game manager. I think he's going to be able to give you those high ceilings. And that's why I'm still going to stick with McCarthy.
Don't hate that
Gotcha.
at all. For a response, I think it's good.
Corey asking us, who is the second most disrespected first-round quarterback? It's Josh Allen. It's Josh Allen.
Yeah, I mean, it really is.
It's Josh
really
Allen.
Yep.
People hated that pick. When Josh Allen was drafted, people hated that pick. They wanted him out. They did not want him starting. after his rookie year, they were like calling for everybody's job. They were like, get him out of there. We don't want Josh Allen. You know, yeah. And Lamar Jackson, very disrespected too.
Yeah,
Still,
Lamar for sure.
Still very
They
disrespected.
were asking him to play wide receiver. That's insane. I think I'm changing my answer to Lamar for that alone.
That girl dropped that video 2 years ago, the quarterbacky one. That wasn't that long ago. That was 2 years ago, I think, that they were, talking about him being a quarterbacky type of player. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of disrespect. It's usually the rushing quarterbacks that really get the disrespect.
Oh, yeah.
Cam Ward doesn't fit that mold, but I think there was like a weird discord, like when it came to Shador and Cam Ward, all leading up to the draft, where it's like, who's the guy? And it's like, I don't know, that people just still view Cam Ward as not a great NFL quarterback. And I think that's silly, but whatever. We're going to see how that plays out, obviously. And we talked about Cam Ward, and let's bring it. Let's do a different thing right now. Let's set up a little something. It's going to be kind of a would you rather. We're going to have a little discourse, a little talk. We're going to go through the motion, but just remember, these are dynasty questions right now. So we're only going to be viewing them in a dynasty lens. Let's talk CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. Is that
CJ
close
Stroud
for either of you guys? Is that closer for either of you guys? Like, is there a world where you would want Bryce Young?
I think
They were drafted next to each other.
I think if Tataroa is good, that will help Bryce Young, and I think that is a big if that CJ Stroud doesn't have. We know CJ Stroud is good. We know he can put up high fantasy ceilings.
Jayden Higgins is going to ball out. I think Jayden Higgins is going to definitely be a 1B to Nico Collins at that point. And
I just don't trust the Panthers without Cam Newton. I mean, they just aren't. I mean, they've had Jake Delhomme one time, got to the Super Bowl, and then they've had Cam Newton. For whatever reason, it's not working.
It's a tough organization to put any faith in. I'm leaning Stroud. I think it's closer than I want to admit. I think Bryson's going to have a bigger year because he has Ted. I think they're going to establish the run game, signing Chuba to that extension. But Stroud has Nico Collins. He's got Higgins, Jalen Knoll. There's no running game. Like, they are going to air this out. They understand the quarterback that they have and what his skill set is. It's not scrambling. It's sitting in the pocket. It's being precise with those throws. And I think they're just going to cater to that. And yeah, it's Stroud for me.
Yeah. I think it's Stroud fairly easy right now, but I think that this might be a little closer at the end of the season than people want to admit.
I think that we haven't seen enough of Young.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of stepped into a tough situation. He hasn't had the same coach or personnel since he came into the league. He's had to get used to new offensive coordinators, different situations. It's tough, man. I mean, Stroud kind of had some stuff last season. Obviously injuries. He had his coach fired in the middle of the season at that point. I get it. This is going to be the first year where they're kind of transitioning together. I think it's going to be a fun year to assess this guy, because obviously Stroud walked into a great scenario, his rookie year, where Young with the opposite, it was a mess. So I'm very intrigued by this head to head, because they're always going to be compared at this point, being drafted next to each other and coming out together at the combine and everything. And it's like, I think it's juicy, but yeah, it's definitely Stroud right now for the consensus. Here's a fun one right here. So obviously Drake Maye is somebody that's a big riser for a lot of people. And then Bo Nix, we saw what he did his rookie year. Obviously probably valued over Drake Maye after the rookie year, and then people adjust and transition and they look, dynasty lens eyes shows you a little bit of the future. And a lot of people have Drake Maye taking a step forward. Maddie, you want Drake Maye or Bo Nix in dynasty?
This was close. I took Bo Nix, and the tiebreaker for me was offensive head coach. You get that amplification in fantasy football. When the player plays for an offensive coach, generally they score higher than players that play for defensive coaches. But if you're an IDP guy, it's the opposite. Defensive coaches, your high caliber IDPs are always there. But back to Bo Nix. Bo Nix was good last year as a rookie when nobody thought he was going to be a first-round pick, and then he was a first-round pick, and then nobody thought he was going to be good, and then suddenly he was challenging for Rookie of the Year. And I do believe that he takes the next step forward because Sean Payton runs a very complex offense. It is not something that a rookie is just going to be able to look at and memorize immediately. It's going to take repetition. It's going to take practice. Bo Nix is now going through his second camp. There's familiarity with the coach. There's going to be a next step. And while I do think Drake Maye is going to be better, and I do think that he is also going to take another step, I think you're going to see Sean Payton almost handhold Bo Nix into top quarterback territory in the next 2 to 3 years. I think that's a realistic outcome.
Nice.
So,
baby. What are you thinking, Mad Dog?
I'm going to choose Drake Maye on this.
Oh,
Bo Nix, he's already 25 years old. Like, we could argue that, yes, he was a rookie, but that could be his ceiling last year. They didn't have a run game. You can say that Cortland Sutton finished as a wide receiver 15 on the year, and that could be his outlier. That was one of his best seasons, statistically speaking. They now have RJ Harvey. They have J.K. Dobbins. What do you have for a wide receiver too? If Sutton does regress, ceiling for Nix is capped. I think that Drake Maye being younger, they buffed up that O-line. They have Travion Henderson. I think there's more intangibles there. Yes, I think that Drake Maye is more electric. He has a better rushing game. I think there's more room for growth there. I think his ceiling surpasses Nix by quite a lot.
I guess I'm the tiebreaker, man. I always go back and forth on this, like I agree that Nix is in a great situation. Obviously has the coaching, the pass catchers. I think the team makeup is in his favor. I think that the ceiling play is going to be Drake Maye. And that does have a lot to do with, his skill set. And it's not like, I think he throws better than Nix or anything, but I just think that, bro, like when you watch him actually go through the motions, through his reads, he's an intelligent quarterback. He was not in a great situation. I think the O-line did him no favors last year. I think that what we saw him do in the limited amount of time, I think he started week 6, week 7. He's probably week 4, week 5. But either way, he didn't start the full year. He came in and he got comfortable fast. And it's not like he didn't have the struggles, but I think the team has dramatically improved. I just think that we saw the floor for Maye last year and we saw closer to the ceiling of Bo Nix. So I think that they're
really
going to.
Quick before we move on, I just want to say this is not hate on Drake Maye. I don't know if you can see the baby blue wall behind me. I'm a North Carolina Tar Heel freak. All right, so I am pro.
I don't think you hate
Drake
on him.
Maye.
No, yeah. It's not that I hate on Bo Nix either. I think that Bo Nix is like, I would feel kind of uncomfortable if he was my QB1, but like I would love Bo Nix as my QB2 in Dynasty. Like I think that, I own a lot of them because he was super cheap in that rookie draft last year. He was a second rounder, you could get Bo Nix second round everywhere. He was going where Tyler Shuck goes this year. So it was like easy money. Like he was such a big value last year. So any early second I had, it was Bo Nix. But yeah, I mean, this is great conversation. I wouldn't fault you for going either way, at this point. But this one might not be so hard, but I think it's harder than people want to admit because we're talking about Jayden Daniels. So Jayden Daniels obviously had one of the best rookie years we've seen in a long time. Obviously with his feet and his arm. I don't know if there's going to be regression there. I don't know. We always see the year 2 struggles with quarterbacks. We saw Justin Herbert come out and be an elite quarterback. And then that year 2 hit and it was tough, man. It's tough to deal with all of the changes, to deal with, all the tape that they have on you. You know, it's hard to come out and be the quarterback that you were after they understand your ticks. They understand your motions, your reads, the way that you look, the way that you work in and out of the pocket. You know, when they had their NFL tape, it is the defense plays you harder. The defense knows your favorable spots, you know, so you have to adjust. And if you can't make that adjustment on the fly, you're going to struggle a little bit. So I don't know, but we're talking about Jayden Daniels and Jalen Hurts. Is this closer than it's closer than it should be to me? Like, I think it is hand in hand. We might see these guys flip-flop in ADP next year. I think that's just, it could happen. People aren't ready for that discourse that Jayden Daniels might regress a little bit, you know, either way.
I'll rip the Band-Aid off here. I took Jalen Hurts in this. I think Jalen Hurts is a different dude. I think mentally he is just, and that's not to say anything on Jayden Daniels, but I think that Jalen Hurts overcame probably the most public circumstance negatively I think I've ever seen in sports. And he handled it with grace, and now he has climbed the top of the mountain in the NFL when he was pulled from the Alabama game in favor of Tua Tagovailoa in the middle of the national championship. Can you imagine trying to just mentally get past that? I mean, it's the most pivotal moment of the season, and you weren't trusted. Instead of letting that define him, we have seen him refine himself into a quality quarterback that has a cheat code play that guarantees him rushing touchdowns. And I think that the rushing touchdown upside for him is actually higher. Jayden Daniels is only going to get that rushing touchdown volume if he can athletically beat defenders. And eventually, like you said, they're going to understand how to guard him. The tush push has been around for 2 years. Nobody can stop it. They're trying to legislate it out of the league. So Jalen Hurts, until that play is banned or outlawed, has that upside. And I think that as a quarterback, he's the type of guy – I felt like this was risk-reward. And for me, at quarterback, I just want to be safe. I don't have to have the sexiest quarterback. But if I have a safe quarterback option like a Jalen Hurts, where I know the point floor is going to be, maybe 12 to 17 at the floor, but I know that I can get those games where he rushes 2 touchdowns and throws another one and has a good game passing, and I can get to that 25. That is how you win a fantasy football league, by not having players lose it. Now, Jayden Daniels, I don't think is the type of guy that loses you matchups, but I'm very much with you in the point that they have tape on him now. We're going to see who he really is now, and I'm confident he's going to be a good player, but I trust Jalen Hurts more this upcoming season.
What about you, Mad Dog?
Man, Monty might have just swayed me on this one, but I think I'm still going to go with Daniels. I think when I'm looking at my dynasty play, he's a younger player. I think he's a better overall passer than Jalen Hurts. The thing that does scare me is that Terry is not there, not getting ready, And when we see those veteran wide receivers missing time, the risk for injury now comes up. But I just think Jayden Daniels has it. I think he has that it factor. He has Zach Ertz still. It's a good system with Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury. I think they're going to make things work. Deebo Samuels is there for another safety blanket, an added vet that can help him out. I think that Jayden Daniels can at least stay where he was last year for production.
Yeah, honestly, it is a hard question. I think that Jalen Hurts, for lack of a better word to use, is disrespected in a way. Like you are looking at a guy that has done it year after year, and still, people are talking about if the tush push gets banned, he's not a good quarterback, this and that. I just think he hasn't had to throw it. He hasn't had to really go at it. And I think that that's going to change a little bit. We saw AJ Brown a little frustrated last year. I think he's going to throw it more. I think that he has to throw it more. I think that what they're doing right now is just not enough. So ultimately, I want to say they're going to have to throw it more. He's going to have to do it.
Yep. And
I think that Hurts is going to jump. And I think that Jayden Daniels, he might stay the same. But he's not going to improve on last year. I think the best case scenario is that Jayden Daniels does exactly what he did last year,
Yeah.
And that would be great. That would be amazing.
That's insane. Yeah.
But I think there's too many outside factors that are pointing to possibly him taking a step. I'm not saying big step, but I'm talking about, he might, what is he, the 101 right now? Like he can't go any higher than he is.
That's right.
Yeah.
Maybe he starts going 104 next year or something. I think they're going to be back-to-back next year. I think that people are undervaluing Hurts and overvaluing Jayden Daniels right now. I wouldn't take him over Josh Allen. I wouldn't take him over Lamar Jackson. I just can't. What? Why are you laughing? I can't.
I'm laughing at Corey using Ertz as an argument for Daniels. You got me.
Hey, man. I mean, dude, he was.
It's legit.
It's legit. Dude, Corey's killing it, bro. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's great, man. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's spicy. It's good. I like that. Monty was kind of on my side for that one. I thought it was going to be like I'm
starting to think that we should just turn off Mad Dog.
Nah, man.
You guys can't do that. You can't do that.
Yeah.
You guys will just agree with everything.
He's been with me for too long, man. That's my boy. Before we plug everything you got coming up and everything, let's talk about our biggest riser this year for 2025. So we're going to go round robin. I'm going to start with our guest. So, Monty, who's your biggest riser for this year in quarterback?
I'm going Baker Mayfield, and I think it's just because the value of quarterbacks, what we were seeing. The quarterback, we all know that there's a tier of 4, maybe you could argue 5, but I'm going with it. There's a tier of 4 quarterbacks that these are the top ones. And then after that, it is going to genuinely kind of be a crapshoot. But there's a lot of volatility. I think Baker Mayfield's in that second tier. I really believe that I think the weapons around him are going to be a big difference. I think Emeka Egbuka is really going to shock people. He was always considered the number 2 guy at Ohio State because he went behind people like Marvin Harrison and Jeremiah Smith. Sorry, those are tough names to beat out. They just are. But that does not mean he was a bad receiver, and we are seeing it in training camp reports right now that Emeka Egbuka is flashing, and he's not just flashing like, oh, that's a really sexy rookie. He's flashing like, oh, wow, this is a dude. This is somebody that could get on the field and challenge some of these guys that we're used to seeing there. Mike Evans, I'm not going to doubt him until he shows me he can't do it. That guy's he's just awesome. Godwin concerns me because he is injured chronically. It is always happening. And when you got a guy like Egbuka behind him pushing, we could see Godwin being phased into a different role and Egbuka actually coming up there and being the number 2 receiver reliably for that team. And Cade Otton was good. Baker Mayfield has a great situation. It's a not tough division at all. So you're getting 6 games where you're going to play lower tier teams. 6 games right off the gate. So I think that the value you're getting him right now in drafts is good. And if you're in a dynasty league, he's a guy that I would target for sure. I don't know how much I'd pay for him long term, but I do think that this offense in the very short term is going to be effective.
Oh yeah, I like that call. Mad Dog, who's your biggest riser this year?
This is one guy that I think is going to be met with some controversy, and I think it has to be Trevor Lawrence, right? It's kind of put up this year.
Love that.
But if Brian Thomas Jr. is elite, we think Travis Hunter can also be elite, depending on his snap share. I don't think that's going to be an issue. Liam Cohen is over there now. Trevor Lawrence has the weapons. He was supposed to be a generational talent coming out. He dealt with coaching changes. He dealt with poor performances, injuries. Like, this is the year. So if you believe in that offense, I think just you have to believe that Trevor Lawrence is going to rise. It seems like another guy that people love to hate him because he hasn't lived up to that label, but he has to be with the weapons that he has. Yeah,
I mean, if you're high on Travis Hunter and you want BTJ to be what he was last year, yeah, I mean, you have to be in on Trevor Lawrence, right? You have to assume that he's going to at least take a step forward and produce at a higher level than he has in the past. Ultimately, right? Like, I think that just has to go hand in hand with the talent that he has around him. I mean, we talked about him earlier in the show. We kind of slammed it down on the table a little bit, but I think my biggest rise is still going to be JJ McCarthy. I think that if we are looking at him having the year that, we're not saying top 5 finish like Darnold had last year or anything like that, but I think fantasy wise, he's going to produce points. He's going to be looked at as like a mid-range quarterback one. I think that's going to be his outcome easily in this situation. If JJ is throwing to Justin Jefferson, Addison, Hawkinson, we're looking at somebody that, dude, we have to be completely in on this guy. And at his ADP right now, he's going near he was going next to Goff and Brock Purdy and that range of quarterback right now. And not that far off from a Cam Ward. And I think that he's probably going to be in the category of a Bo Nix next year. And that could be a hot take. If not, I don't know. But I think that he's going to jump into that second, third round of startup value. And I think that, from where he is right now, that's got to be the biggest riser from the quarterback range, probably outside of any rookie. Oh yeah, I'm the host.
I agree with you.
Yeah. All right. All right, let's go to the biggest faller right now, real quick. I'll start with you, Mad Dog. Who's your biggest faller this year? Who's going to drop in value?
I think it's already a guy that we've seen drop in value the past few years, and that's Tua. I'm not saying his last name, but Miami, what is going on there? Tyreek Hill is kind of doing, an AB impersonation right now. Waddle was disappointing last year. Tua has all these injuries. Mike McDaniels looks like he's, a character in Grand Theft Auto. Like, I don't know what is going on in that organization right now. Like, again, it's kind of the same thing as what I said with Trevor Lawrence. It's now or never. Like, you have Devon Achane who's dealing with an injury. You have Tyreek Hill. There's weapons there. We've seen the offense produce, but if Tua can't put it together, he's not going to be valuable anymore.
Yeah.
McDaniel gives me Vice City vibes for Grand Theft Auto, by the way.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm going to save you for last, Maddie. So I'm going to drop my biggest faller. I got to keep the brand going. I got to stay on brand right now. And, I think Mad Dog knows where I'm going with this, but I'm going Brock Purdy. I'm going to say that Brock Purdy is going to not disappoint. I won't say the word disappoint, but I'm gonna say that he's gonna have an up and down season this year. I think that it's gonna be tough when we're looking at an offense that, we have Ricky Pearsall, we have Juwan Jennings, Kittle, and CMC in the backfield. But it's a far cry from the setup that he had the first couple of years in the league. When we're looking at the loss of weapons, when we're looking at somebody that, just last year started the season with pretty good weapons, like the fall of Debo was kind of unseen, or, and then injury to Ayuk. But we saw a dip in efficiency. We saw a team that really relied on the run a little more, and Purdy is, for lack of a better term, a game manager. He's going to assimilate to, the best way to win the game. And he's going to probably fall into the category of, he's going to do whatever he has to do to win. But ultimately, it's not going to be relying on his arm, I think, at this stage. I think it's going to be more of a, hey, we'll get it to CMC. All right, we'll get it in the hands of Kittle. It's going to be a lot of Kittle. But I don't think that, he's ever going to elevate the talent around him. I think he gets elevated by the talent around him. And when that's the case, and when there's the lack of elite talent, I think that he's going to fall into that. Okay, he's fine. He's like a Jared Goff, like he's going to be okay for fantasy, but he's never going to have like that boom. I think people are drafting him in the top 10 quarterback range right now. Am I wrong? I don't have the ADP in front of me. I know you do.
I'll try to find it.
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I think he's being drafted in the top 10. I probably have him more of like quarterback 15 this year.
And that's exactly where he is. He's quarterback 15. He's one quarterback ahead of JJ McCarthy.
Oh, baby. Well, I have JJ over him, definitely. But I honestly thought that that's his ADP in Dynasty.
Yep. Yeah.
15, huh? Actually, that's fine.
That feels fair. It feels fair.
It kind of feels fair, but I still don't like him this year.
Yeah, I don't either.
I'm going to stick to it. I'm not changing now.
All right.
All right. Maddie, hit me with the last guy. Then we got a couple questions in the chat we're going to answer.
Mad Dog, just want to let you know I'm covering the Miami Dolphins also for Football Guys, and my biggest baller was Tua Tagovailoa and the entire Miami Dolphins offense. I wanted to throw in a little sugar on top.
Okay.
There's very, very bad vibes going on there. I don't even think Tua and Tyreek have talked in camp. It's like that weird. Now, obviously, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but I don't know how much of an exaggeration, to be honest with you. Wouldn't shock me if this team moved Tyreek Hill. Would not shock me at all if they try to get some sort of value from him while he still has name recognition. There's a weird Cold War going on. McDaniel's losing trust not only in the fan base, but now from the team, and now the media is starting to turn on him a bit. So I think that this is going to be a very, very big first month of football for the Miami Dolphins, and I don't think it's going to go well. The running back room has a lot of questions. Is Achane staying healthy? Obviously, they lost Madison to a devastating injury, but it looks like Ollie Gordon is shooting up and is going to be the potential running back 2 there. That's legitimately going to happen, I think. Jalen Wright is not having the camp that they wanted him to have, and Ollie Gordon they thought was on the roster bubble week 1, and now it looks like he's going to be a legitimate running back 2 with some goal line opportunities. But I don't think he's going to score because I don't think they're going to get a lot of goal line options because Tua is just not going to have a year that I think is going to be worth remembering.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, big time Tua. I think that Achane's not overrated. I think that Achane is somebody that he's electric. He can take it to the house at any moment. Do I think that they're not going to be in extremely favorable situations all season long? Yes. I think that makes it difficult to condone Achane's value, but I don't think that that's a reason to fade Achane. I just think that it's going to be tough to return second round value on that guy when the offense might be a little volatile this year. You know, when Tua might get knocked out and it might just be a burned to the ground situation. You know, There's a scenario that plays out where if Tua gets knocked out for the year and then Tyreek Hill gets moved, it's going to get ugly, you know? Yep. It could get very ugly. It's just a volatile situation in Miami, man. It's tough to trust, right?
Absolutely. And it might be recency bias, but we saw that Achane wasn't productive when the passing game wasn't opening things up for him. He can't go and get the reps and run in between the tackles and be a productive player. He needs Waddle and he needs Tyreek Hill to be doing their things to open things up, and he can bust out wide for those big runs.
Yep, I agree. Quick ranking question, talking about London as his wide receiver 4. I like that. I mean, I don't have my rankings in front of me, but if we're looking at overall Dynasty rankings, or is this like just this year? That's a good question because it's tough when we're talking about obviously JJ, Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Neighbors,
BTJ.
Like I think he would probably slide in at a wide receiver 6 or 7 for me, maybe in that
7's
range.
7's the top out for me.
I'm very high on London though. Like I love London this year. I love Penix this year. I love that offense this year, man. I think actually Michael Penix, if we're talking about quarterbacks, could be a big time riser this year too.
Yeah,
you know, I think that, you know, where he goes right now, he could probably jump up because if we're going to raise the value of guys like Russ because they're with Neighbors, I would raise the value of Penix all day because we're talking about, you know, I don't know what who's going to be the second, third option on this team. If Pitts has a revival, if anything, it's going to be tough. But London alone is going to be hyper targeted, right? Like London's probably going to get 200 targets this year.
Just really quick, if anybody is still holding on hope to Kyle Pitts, I'll be the guy on here to say it. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's over.
I am that guy.
I still have him. I got a bunch of Pitts. I mean, you can't fold on Pitts now at this point. I would never trade for him or take him in a draft.
He gets younger and better every year.
But he's scoring one more touchdown every year. I don't have
in the Discord today. I said I want my tight ends to be the age of renting a car before I really am intrigued by them. And he's not even there yet. He can't even rent a car, dude. So I think that they blossom later. So you gotta wait it out a little bit. But yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, remember when Pitts first got drafted and he was worth 4 first rounders. People were
took him 1-1 in a tight end premium the year he came out.
People were taking him 1 overall in superflex leagues. Yeah. Holy Jesus, man. Life comes at you fast, dude. But whatever, man. Dude, I appreciate you jumping on with us today, Maddie. I appreciate you coming on, man. I appreciate all the takes. Yeah, it was a lot of fun with you, man. So drop any content that you have coming up. Anything with football guys, any pods, any write-ups or anything that you're doing, just get it out there in the ether, man.
Yeah, so this year for football guys, I'll be running back the Dynasty IDP stock market. It's a weekly feature. I do about 15 players a week. Good, bad, sleepers. I mean, all of the buzzwords you want to hear. I've got that going on. I do it every single week. So really excited to do that. I'm going to be really trying to dive into some video stuff this year on my own, doing YouTube, doing TikToks and stuff like that. That's really the one medium in this that I've not put forth the effort enough that I feel as though I can. So I'm going to be doing a lot of that. Super excited, a little anxious to do that. So I'll probably talk to you guys off air about, give me some tips here. What do you guys think? You guys are professionals, right?
Oh yeah, man.
But I'm really excited to do all that. And then I'm always on X at Matt Monty FF. That's pretty much the tag for everything I do, whether it's TikTok, YouTube, or X at Matt Monty FF. If you want to see my stuff.
Awesome, dude. Well, we appreciate you coming on today. We appreciate everybody that joined us tonight on a random Saturday. It was great having you. Obviously, you can catch us traditionally on Thursdays. So we do the Dynasty Special Thursday afternoon. We have the Devi show on Monday. We do the Whiplash show on Tuesday. And then we're going to be doing the Sunday show. Actually, this coming Sunday. Is it already this Sunday? No. In 2 weeks, we're going to be starting our in-season content. So in 2 weeks, the tailgate starts. So there's just too many shows now, man. It's hard to just plug all these bad boys at the end of pods. So it's like I can't even remember the name of the shows anymore. Bad Dog, you got anything to add in there? You got anything to tell the people?
Yeah, you can catch me in our Dynasty DGens Discord. You can catch me on Thursday nights with Nerd Boy. We're talking about Dynasty. And you can catch some more of my work on the Player Profiler news desk. So when you go onto their website and you're reading your players, you can click on that news tab, and most likely you will see some of my write-ups in there.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, go over to Player Profiler now. You can catch all our content over there. You can catch all of Mad Dog's news streams. And then like I said, we have a bunch of shows. I drop videos on there all the time. So if you go on the YouTube, check it out. I randomly will plug them. So I usually do a video a week, and it's ADP risers and camp hype guys and all that stuff. So yeah, I don't know, man. I got to have Maddie on more, dude. You got to come on the show, man. I got to get you doing an IDP show for us. Yeah.
Let's do it.
So
man.
I appreciate everybody that joined us. Corey, you were the MVP of the chat by a long shot, dude. I appreciate you just jumping in and dropping everything. You're flaming Mad Dog pretty hard, man. I like it, but
bring it on.
All right. I appreciate all you guys, man. Have a good night.